So yeah, I think about a yeah, I know. So it's my birthday last weekend. So I went down to
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was literally jamming to the music. I am so excited to be here. This is number one. Let's just go happy MLK Day. So grateful to be here on the heels of everything that Dr. King and all of the other freedom fighters have done. So I just want to shout out to every single person, give just a moment of gratitude for Dr. King because he has done so much for us, and we just get to continue to do the good work. So welcome to the inaugural episode of the Pink Table Talk Show. So this is a brainchild of Stacy and I. This is a show that's coming out of the She Lab. And as most of you know, we just launched the Insight Salons last week. And so what we're doing is each month we have a theme. It's women and something. So because, money is all present and important, we wanted to kick off the year talking about women and money. So we have the Insight Salons. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Then we're doing the show, and I have assembled just some amazing women. So two of them are actually from our panel. So if you want to be a panelist, if you see yourself as a woman of influence, whether it's small influence or big influence in your community, your corporation at large, wherever it is, if you have a voice that gets to be heard and you are not afraid to say what you say so people can say she said what she said, then we want to invite you to join us. It's www.shelab.xyz. So we wouldn't be here without our sponsors. I mean, this is a lot to pull together, the music, all the things. And I am just so privileged. I get to call this woman a friend. I get to call her neighbor and friend. And she is such a beautiful, generous soul and so giving of herself and cares so deeply about her community. So without further ado, I'm going to bring to the scene Miss Daniela. Daniela, can you come off mute? Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Yes. So Daniela, tell us let's first of all, where are you, by the way?
I had to move spot in my restaurant because the Wi-Fi was spotty, but I'm in my restaurant. Let me see.
Gorgeousness. Look at that. Let me bring the rest of the ladies up. Gorgeousness. Yeah. So Daniela, tell me about your creation story. Like who are you? Where'd you come from? And how did you, as a woman in, let's say predominantly a male dominated food and beverage industry, how did you rise up and give us some money stories? Like, how did you get the cash flow to help you get to where you are right now?
Well, originally I was raised here in Naples, Florida, and I've been here. Well, I married into the business actually. My husband's been owning our first location, which is Martin Fierro in Naples, for 20 years now. And so I learned everything through there. And then moving here to Ave, we said, we need something here. I want something modern, hip, like Miami style. And originally this concept was something very different until I put my 2 cents in with our business partner and my husband. I was like, no, this is what we need. We need something where, because Ave is so far inland that you think twice before going into town, So I was like, I want a spot where you don't have to do that. There's variety and, all that stuff. And an open bar, big bar.
The bar is beautiful. I had a sidecar when I went to go see her and say, hey, honey, I need you to sponsor the show. I sat and I had a sidecar, and it was such a lovely experience. The bartender was so fun and engaging. And I just want you to share with us though. I mean, so I love what you said. You were like, no, this is what it's going to be. And that's a power. Like we women know when it comes to what the experience needs to feel like, right? So tell us though about like, what was your money process? Like, how did you get the restaurant going? The Cisco deal. Like, just give some tips, and you have to give us details, but like cash flow is something for a lot of women entrepreneurs in terms of they have the vision, they have the dream, but just, cash flow eludes them. Did you have any experiences with that, or were you like cash flow?
No, so obviously, with the bank and stuff and our other business, we, borrowed and stuff. But it's, I'm the risk taker always.
Yeah,
I just say, let's do it and, you know, um, work it as you go. Because if not now, when are you going to do it?
I
There's
love that.
never a perfect time. Either do
Exactly.
it and, go with the flow, or, always sit back and think, you know, I
Yeah.
should have, but you never did, and you never know, you know, what it could have ended up being if you didn't take
Give
that
it,
first
take
step.
that risk. And I think it's Mark Zuckerberg who says the only risk in life is not taking risks. So I think, as for me as a woman, hearing you say that, and I don't know if you guys heard me, and people watching, hey Lisa, God, okay, thank you, my love. To have a deal with, like, do you guys know when I say Cisco, what I'm talking about? I'm not talking about the tech company. I'm talking about Cisco Food Systems, like the big mega Cisco food system. Daniela and her team are going to be making empanadas for Cisco.
Ooh,
Man, uh,
congratulations.
Thank you.
that, yes. So that's what I'm talking about. Just so share a little bit about your process going into that, because I know you flew down to Texas, like you did, like it's your company, you're doing, like she's literally legit the boss lady on it. Like that's what her husband told me. Go ahead, Danielle.
So, yeah, my mother-in-law's been making those empanadas for the longest time. And, one day I said, you know what, with my broker, he came up to me, he's like, I love this, these empanadas, we should take it nationally. And he has the best connections. And I was like, let's do it. Why not? Let's do it. And so that's what we did. And, I'm lucky, I would say, to be able to have that opportunity, not only with them, but another big company here locally. And yeah.
Somebody's saying, Elisa is saying empanadas. Yes. So let's do this. What is a cocktail? So we're really wanting to like get our groove on. It's in the evening. Everybody's got a little something that we're sipping on. Tell us what you're sipping on and give us like what's like the signature cocktail for Oasis.
Well, this was one of the cocktails that I, told them we have to have, which is the espresso martini. If you've never had one,
Ooh,
you need to have one.
Right?
It keeps me going. I don't care
no
what
way.
day. It's so creamy and so good. I love it.
Mm.
But we have also our pomegranate pleasure
Ooh.
as our proprietary blend that we do with some vodka. It's refreshing. It's really good. I don't know if you've had it
I
before.
haven't, but I'm coming over. Hello. Like literally it's down the street.
I'm flying out and over.
Yeah, come stay with me.
I will. Listen.
Yeah.
So, what advice? Because I'm looking at the comments. We have a lot of women entrepreneurs. What advice would you give? Right. So, what I've already sort of picked up is this idea of being intrepid and being willing to take risks, and that is like you're singing my song. What else would you say for women that you would give them as the CEO of your company?
Always, for example, we have a new business coming up, and it's totally out of our norm of businesses, and we literally like ask questions to people that already have that business. Don't be scared to ask.
Mm-hmm.
We asked this company that has been in business in Naples for a long time, and we literally walked in there and said, "Can we speak to the owner?" Walked in, spoke to the owner, and said, "Listen, we have this idea for our community." You know, we picked their brain, and
Yeah,
the guy was open about it, told us all the ins and outs. He doesn't even know us, you know, and
Yes.
just stepping out of your comfort zone and really ask questions. Don't be scared to ask people that are at the level that you want to reach.
I love that.
I love it.
I love that.
And that's one of our thing with my husband.
I have a question.
We're open for other people. Like when people come up to us and ask us questions about
Yeah.
the restaurant business or anything like that, we are open to sharing everything, you know,
I love that.
the goods, the bads, everything, you know. My husband's motto is each one teach one,
Oh,
Mm,
you know.
love that.
We have
Beautiful.
have a thing here at the She Lab too that we call our reciprocity ring, right?
Yeah.
Talk about it.
And give it, and if you need something, ask for it, and we all do that for each other. So we're on the same page with that. It's great.
I love it. I love it. Okay, Daniela. So I'm going to have you give your just share what's going on at Oasis, you know, talk about the other restaurant, like just share what you want to share because that's why you sponsored. I want you to like use this moment. What's going on? I know there's like an island thing event coming up. So just talk about it.
Yeah, so this Friday we have Island Vibes. It's just you come, you dine, and you have a good time with DJ Blackout, who's an Emmy Award winner, DJ, and have wonderful cocktails with great music, just that island good vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we do have comedy shows that we host, um, Latin nights, um, karaoke, which is so fun.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of different events just to keep
Yeah.
people, you know, coming and having a good time.
Well, Daniela, you know I love you. I love everything about you. And I say she's a mom of two beautiful children. So she's a working mom doing all of this. So I want everybody to look at her and feed off of her energy and her vibe. What did you hear her say? So I'm going to say some things that I heard. Ask. Jesus says you have not because you ask not. Right? One of my mentors, she says this all the time and I use it. It's connection equals currency. So who you're connected to, right? Who you're connected to matters. When you are looking to reach to that next level, be sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people because you don't know who knows, you know, a person that knows a person, right? She talked about her broker and the connection and they went into this, you know, be fearless because here's the thing. When you, Lisa says, open up in Dallas, Daniela. You don't know who knows, you know who, and if you're not willing to just take a chance, if you hear somebody says no, it's not a fatal disease, right? You just keep going. You just keep going. So Daniela, my love, I raise my glass to you. You are doing fabulous. Thank you for being you. Thank you for making Ave a place where, like, literally you said, we don't have to schlep and go to Naples, and it's fabulous, and we will always stay bougie whenever we come in. So cheers, my love. I love you. Best success. Thank you for all the tips. Thank you for inspiring everyone. And we would love to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Wow. Cheers. So yeah, let's drink.
See you soon, Daniela.
Ciao, ciao. Now, was that good or was that good? I mean,
So glad you asked her what was in her glass because I was sitting there looking at it like with mouth. That is delicious. What is it? I wish she could recipe, but maybe we can get her to email it to us after.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. Cheers, everyone. If you have a beverage of choice, feel free to cheers along with us. We're celebrating. This is our inaugural episode. And so just love it. So I just love that. And I hope, for those of you who are watching, I want to hear like what landed for you. What are you taking away? Like what nugget is going to resonate with you? Because, this is a woman who's married with kids, married with children, and owns three different restaurants and is building, connections for, I didn't even know about this new thing she was talking about. And she just did this big deal with Cisco, and she's got, right?
Exactly.
So we don't get to make excuses. We get to make money or we make excuses, but we can't do both.
So I
right?
love that. I love that. And one of the things I hope we caught, one of my mentors and coaches says, some things are thought and some things are caught. And what I caught in her delivery and sharing information with us just now is what I would love for our sisters who are, all of us, we're always juggling. As women, we give birth to things all the time, not just children, right? And so listening to Daniela reminded me of the fact that a lot of us women look up to each other when we are seemingly, we remember she had two children, she has a husband, she spoke about in-laws, she also spoke about this business and that business, but I heard her say we went over, and we and we and we. And I want my sisters who are listening to us to grasp that some of the most empowered women you see walking the face of earth, we do not go it alone. And you said it too, Faith. You have to build a tribe of what Stacy says, reciprocity. That when you are going to get these goals and these things and the bag and the money, you build a tribe around you that's going to help you build. The question has been all throughout time, can women truly have it all? I'm part of a summit this weekend where that's the theme, can women have it all? But we can have it all, but we can't have it all by ourselves because we cannot be everything to everyone all the time.
Yeah.
But we can have it all, but we have to be strategic and build it all with the right people in the right environment to get the result.
I love it. Well, if that was good, just drop a one in the comments, drop a one in the chat. I'm looking at the time and I think I hear that famous sound. It's the rewind.
Let's do it.
So Stacy is going to rewind us back into the salon that we held last week. And of course, Alisa and Christina were, just two of the many women that we had. So Stacy, over to you.
Oh, awesome. Alisa, I just want to say, I wanted to say so badly, yes. And to what you just said, I listened to, all the time. I'm like a crazy news junkie. Like I have Sirius in my car and I'm listening to it constantly and flipping between a lot of different stations. And for the last couple of days, I've been hearing these headlines that are like just things that I want to bring out to the She Lab and our community because they're so important. But the one I heard this morning was regarding geopolitics, but the headline was there's power in coalition building. And I keep on thinking of that, right? So they're obviously about like building coalitions between nations and yada, yada. But I'm thinking, this is what we're doing right here, right? Is we're building this coalition that the sum of its parts is more powerful than the individuals. So love that. Yes. And I just want to comment on that.
Awesome.
So I want to first of all say happy MLK Day as well. So my two kids and I were out at 9 o'clock this morning doing an MLK Day of service, and we made bags for homeless children and moms. Awesome. We made food bags and toiletry bags and just other goodies. And what was amazing is my kids are in second grade. They and their class made little individual notes to put into each bag that said just these nice inspirational sayings that let other kids know that they're cared about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's how we spent our MLK Day. I'll post pictures of that later. But I did want to do the rewind, as Faith said. So we had some really, really good, powerful salons this past week, and they they surfaced a lot, I think, kind of for all of us. One of the headlines, probably the headline for me, was no matter what your age, no matter what your background, no matter what your profession, no matter what your socioeconomic status, if you're a woman, money is complicated. And I would say it probably even is if you're a man, money is complicated. I don't know because we didn't talk to any men in our She Lab. But it's definitely the headline that came through from the women, that we spoke with. So I was sort of kind of looking back on this, thinking about two sort of big buckets that I would put that headline into. And the first is making the money, right? So, as we were talking with women, we were kind of hearing this tension that we all carry about, do I have enough? Am I making enough? Am I charging enough? Am I asking for enough? So sort of this question mark around, do I have enough? And then if not, how do I get it? So Dr. Alisa, I want your opinion and Christina's opinion on that in just a moment. But the second bucket that I'll sort of put all of this insight in is the fact that once you have enough, once there's this feeling that there's money there, there's a real confusion about how to grow it, right? How to protect it, how to invest, how to grow it, how to leave a legacy. And that's the piece where we sort of talked about the financial services industry kind of having room, having opportunity to really do better for us as women. Really this sense that, women in our panel said, well, what is a bank supposed to do? The old kind of version of a bank is I can put my money there, then I can go in and talk to someone about withdrawing or getting a loan. But what else can a bank do for me? Likewise, financial planners, credit card companies, other investment vehicles, all kinds of financial services vehicles that women are confused and need information or want information about to help them protect and grow our money. So those are kind of the two buckets of insight that I came away with. And I would love to hear, kind of from each of you and then from the folks on the live as well. What do we think? What is resonating from this, and what do we do to tackle both of these issues, getting more and then protecting and growing what we have? So I'll open the floor with Dr. Alisa, Christina. I'd love to hear what you ladies are thinking about that. Let's start. Dr. Alisa, let's go with you. Oh, can you hear me?
I think she was frozen.
Oh, she's frozen. All right.
Alisa, can you hear us? Christina, you go, my love.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was going to say she's frozen for me too. Oh, no.
Oh, sure. Well,
Hey.
I didn't say this at the beginning. Christina, you come at this from an entrepreneur's point of view, right? You're young, in your early 20s, and coming at it from that perspective. Dr. Lisa's got a different perspective. She's got an established business and she coaches women about money. So just to sort of give that perspective to those looking in, to know who they're hearing from, I think that's helpful because we've got this group.
Okay, go, Christina.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's needed. One thing that I wished I learned earlier was the power of saying no, right? Like one of the biggest challenges that I encounter is saying yes and saying yes to everything. It's like, yes, I'll volunteer. Yes, I'll help out. Yes, I'll discount. And I think that we need to be more comfortable with saying no, because that did wonders for me financially. And it's something that I didn't see until I started doing it. And I think a lot of times we also think when we do say no that we have to justify that decision, right? I think a lot of times we're like, no, because, or no, but. And I think that we should really stand in our decisions, right? And I think that really, really helps increase revenue, increase impact, because there's more of you to go around, right? Hope and dreams and exposure doesn't pay the bills. I think we all wish it did, but I think that it's challenging as a woman, especially in this day and age. And I've been in business for a decade now, started when I was 14 and I'm 22 now, but there's so many things that I'm still learning. And I was like, oh, I thought that one day I would wake up and like you figure it out. But then the reality of it is that nobody has it figured out, right?
Right.
That's
no,
like, nobody.
Nobody. if I can just jump in, because I want to illuminate what Christina just said, that no is actually a complete sentence. And sometimes people think when they say no, you're being rude. So allow me to demonstrate. If, like, Stacy, ask me if I like sushi.
Faith, do you like sushi?
Oh my gosh, yes. She's not expecting me to go into, the reason I like sushi is because, the wasabi, and, it's like a yes and it's done. So if the yes can be a complete sentence and or a complete response in that situation, are you able to speak at this event? No, I have plans. That doesn't work for me. Done. It's not being rude, because in the scripture it says, say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no.
No when you mean no. Come on. That's a whole complete sentence in a word. Cheers.
Cheers to that. Okay.
Cheers to no. I think we all.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that a little bit with that question. It's brilliant. One of the blocks I talk about, there's 8 money blocks I talk about. And one of the ones that stand out with this question, Stacy, is the money guilt, the block that comes with money guilt. That's and I always say, what's your money story? Because when I ask that question, I'm asking you to see that now you're that woman who's made some money, you don't really know how to move with it, or you're that woman who has a great vision but don't know how to get the money, and you don't feel comfortable enough yet to approach it. And I'll have a story to share. But that guilt sometimes comes from our childhood, depending on our story. And I share often about the story where I had a father who told my mother she could not work. As intelligent and as trained and skilled as she was, he said she couldn't work. And it wasn't so common for women to work anyway, but she had, so it was one of those cultural eras. But at the same time, he was only distributing money based on how much he thought was necessary for the day. And so there were a lot of things that weren't met. My thing was, as a child, I internalized that, first of all, I'm not going to let a man be responsible for my money, or I'm not going to do money with men. Why? Because of how my dad related, right? And so I had this level of, I was very, like I share, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old. I started my own business and all that with my mother too, who, of course, she empowered herself and all the wonderful things. But I still had it in my head that I don't need a man for money. And no, I don't. But how can you really be a princess or a queen and be fine with engaging with someone who cannot have your back? It was okay for me because I had that men and money separate, right? And so that money block limited a lot of the things in my life. It looked like in adulthood, me taking on too much on myself as it pertains to earning and gaining and keeping the man out and not holding him accountable for his role. And so I was married very early, but that was my thing. And I was comfortable taking on all this stress. Not that the man please don't walk away thinking the man that I was married to was not providing. He was, but then I still kind of had my own idea and it was kind of separate and it caused friction. It comes over to the business world as well. I sat back just recently and realized that I've been plotting and planning how to ask for millions when billions is actually what's available to me.
Yeah, I love that. I
Y'all
love
hear that? Why did I only think I should be looking for $1 million source when my project is $1 billion level? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to ask for this much so I can do this much and knock it out. And then I'll build. Yeah. Why are we not asking? And you had something on that, Faith.
Yeah, it's so important that everybody, especially women and young women, hear this, is that you don't, I think Stacy and I, we put this in our book, like, you're not here to ask for permission. You're here to put people on notice. So with that said,
that is a
I forget which chapter it's in, but that actually brings us to Stacy and I are going to be giving away signed copy of Ladies Power Up Your Brand for, let's say, maybe 3. What's required is I want you to ask questions of our co-host. You can ask them of us for sure, but the reason that they're here is that they're coming with life experience. And you heard Daniela say, ask. She literally walked into this man's place and just said, hey. So I don't want us to be lurkers, because lurkers don't get the money. right? The people who open their mouth are the ones that get fed. So we will pick, but I just want to see in the chat some specific questions that you would like either Dr. Lisa or Christina to answer. And again, this is a must read for every woman. So, Stacy, what else? So we talked about the how to get it. So I want us to do now some real tactical things for the audience. Right. So that is the number one concern. I don't care if you're, a Gen X or, we had Miriam on, and she's a boomer and she's living the La Vida Loca over on the Cape, but she's still also concerned about holding on to her money. So I want us to go around the table and just maybe give one or two very practical and tactical things that the audience can do now to literally start impacting their money savings rate. So I'm going to go, this is borrowed from one of my clients in the Brand Accelerator program. So one of the things that I do with them is every morning when I do my gratitude journal, I take a picture of it and I post it in the group, and then that prods everybody to, get into theirs. One of the clients wrote back and she said what she does that every day. And what she does is she takes a dollar bill. And so every time she writes, she folds a dollar bill in a piece of paper and she puts it in a jar, so that by the end of the year, she's got $365. So this is what my tactical, practical thing is. I don't care how small it is. You get to start saving. You get to start saving. This is your way of saying, okay, I'm important, I matter. Even if it's a nickel, this is my nickel. Okay? So let me know if you guys understood what I'm saying, like literally a dollar. Yeah, somebody's saying they love it. Here's another thing. I'm just going to rattle off my 3 and then give the floor back. I got this from a former client as well. It's like $1 million bill. I keep this on my desk. I see this all the time. So my waves of I see it. It's like, that's right. We're building $1 million business. Surround yourself with opulence. Another one of my mentors said, right? You see how my office is decored like it's a gallery? Stacy won't remember. Stacy, you remember when we were in Prague?
I remember.
Okay. We'll have to tell that story another time.
Art across borders. I remember that.
Oh my gosh. And I went berserk in the galleries and bought a whole bunch. But so the point is, whatever that means for you, everybody listening to me, surround yourself. That's how you build that wealth mindset. Even if it's like Lisa's on here, who's our amazing flower grower from Colorado, a little bit of like a fresh cut flower on your desk. Do that. It's magic, right? It's magic and it works. So last thing, my mindset of wealth. So I have 2 big, huge, like dishes or whatever you'd call those, like containers that are on decorative things on when you walk in. So bowls, just imagine 2 big bowls. Inside the big bowls, one has all pennies and one has like all quarters and dimes and nickels. And that says to me when I walk in my home, I am so wealthy. I'm so freaking wealthy. Like my money is now decor, right? A mindset thing. So I hope you can use some or all of those. Okay, I yield back my time. Somebody else, give us some tactical and practical things for the audience.
That's awesome. That's so great, Faith. I will share a couple things, but then I have a question. Can I do that? I know it's not.
Yeah.
So yes, and I love like the saving a little bit. I last year started doing like open an account with Acorns. Do you guys know Acorns?
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the many online banks that allow you to do roundups. So when you spend money with your debit card, it rounds it up like to the nearest dollar, and then
nice.
that or 5 times that or 10 times it. So and it just goes to a savings account automatically, which is brilliant for someone like me who like lives and breathes by my debit card, right?
Yeah.
Everything. So the idea that, money is just coming off of that and timesing itself by 10 and going to a savings account is brilliant. And it's one of those things, I think I lost the password to the account. I check it, but I know it's accruing. So it's good. I'm going to leave it there. And the other thing I did this year, this was part of my New Year's intentions, not resolutions, but intentions, was I went through everything, all those little subscriptions that, you know, you subscribe to, or your kids like put on your phone and you're being charged $4.99 a week for, or $12.99 a month for, got rid of them all. And that felt so good. It was a giant purge. So not only putting money aside, but like cutting expenses as well. Those are my two nuggets. But I wanted to go back to Dr. Alisa, and I want this money story thing. I'm so intrigued by it. How do you coach women to understand their money story, and how do you coach them to overcome it? And I wonder if you could sort of speak to Christina on this and do a little
awesome. Oh, I would love that. Brilliant. So one of the things as I introduced earlier is that money block and that money story. And so a lot of times we find issues with asking and pricing our services, charging what we're worth. And like Christina's quickly and briefly well said, is saying no and saying yes. When should I say no? When should I say yes? Questions. And so if I can play with you a little bit, Christina, if you could tell me one of the biggest difficulties you have with money right now, we can kind of do that for a second and we can work through that block.
I would say stability.
Whether it's a personal or a business,
I would say stability. Yeah, I mean, business wise, that's like the biggest challenge. Personally, I think that I struggle with trying to identify where all of my buckets of money should go. I'm like, oh, I should invest this, I should save that. And I feel like I'm doing the things, but then something else comes up and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that and I missed that. And so I feel like I still am actively seeking information, right? And trying to discern what I should be doing, when I should be doing it, right? Thinking about, okay, you don't want to buy a house right now, but you're self-employed. What's that going to look like 5-10 years from now when you're looking to start that process? What things can I be doing now? So I know that's a lot, but
so when you pinpoint that, what would you say? Is that like a confidence issue, or you just feel like you need more exploration? What is that? What do you think you're experiencing the block? Because I think I'm hearing you say that I suffer with a little bit of indecision when it comes to making a decision, or you're not comfortable with your decisions?
Not necessarily indecision. I feel like I'm always seeking information, and I feel like it's never enough. I don't feel like there's a time where I will wake up and be like, okay, I have everything figured out. I know where this money's going to go. I stress about money all the time because I don't know where it should be going all the time, right?
So quick question. What I just heard is I stress about money all the time. And Faith and Stacy posted that. I think it was, the percentage was 30% more women, 60% more women, exactly, stress about money more than men do. And so I want to connect that to you. Where in your childhood did you see a lot of stress about money and making money decisions?
I don't think that I was outwardly exposed to it. I think I identified it when I got older and I moved out and I was on my own. Both of my parents were together. My dad was the one who worked. My mom stayed at home, raised myself and my brother, and, homeschooled him. So all the conversations about money, as far as like if there were any challenges there, were done behind closed doors. But one thing that was always instilled in me was to find a way, make a way, right? You want something, you have to pay for it, right? We go to the bookstore, you want this book? Okay, how are you going to have the money to pay for it? The money was available, but one thing that my dad always did was encourage me to explore entrepreneurship. I mean, he was my first client. And so I feel like if those things weren't happening when I was younger, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I am now.
Right. Right. So when I think about it, I still go back to the confidence that many of us will fight with over and over. That's what I'm hearing. It's not necessarily, and there's a reason, and that's something that you would spend time thinking. Why am I feeling like what I'm doing is still not enough for me right now, which blocks the enjoyment of what you have already created? Does that make sense to you? Do you feel like your moments of where you should be completely, yeah, I've hit it, I've done it, you're not spending as much time celebrating or being comfortable in that space, but you're like, but the next thing, but the next thing. And that right there is part of that, honestly, that relationship that we have with money, where we have a guilt. We have a guilt and a fear that we're not going to either there's a chance I could mess this up. There's a chance that I could mess this up, or there's a chance I'm not doing this right. So if you're experiencing that guilt, that's when I say that you have to spend time reprogramming your association with money, because there's something there where either because a lot of people around you are not necessarily comfortable with money, or haven't done or attained the level of success that you have, or they're looking to you because you are the know-it-all. You're constantly pressuring yourself to come up with more systems and more. And there's a difference between being a go-getter and get that money, get the bag, and creating more systems, and you never feeling like you're enough for where you're at, or where you're at that you've able to sit and look at that level of success. So you're dealing with that guilt. And so when I talk about that with my clients, ladies, is you have to sit now. It's a twofold thing. It's that building confidence within yourself, and also building and reprogramming your relationship with money. First of all, knowing that you are worthy of abundance. Number one, recognizing that you deserve a joyous life. And even now in the present, while you have all those goals, you're exactly 100% whole and complete. And it's a celebration if you just increase your income by $100, by $10. If someone paid you for service that you were giving away for free to all your friends and family, you have to celebrate the small things and ravish in it. And so that reprogramming sometimes comes from, I speak about that overachiever mindset, where it's like a nasty virus that's counterfeiting everything you do. So that's how we would go through it, is digging what is truly behind whatever that block is for you. And then we start to reprogram. And when we talk faith about what do, I created this journal. It's called New Money Mindset for my clients. And so for myself too. And this year I'm revisiting it, and it asks you, what is a positive thought? What am I learning to? I believe that I'm grateful for. And then you make a promise and commitment to yourself based on those blocks. So what I would do with Christina is say, what is the negative? The thought is that I need to get more information all the time. I need to have the next thing lined up. I don't have time to celebrate this victory. So she's going to write, I will celebrate every victory, every win that I achieve, especially when it relates to money. Now I'm going to work with her for everything, because you will see that seeping through everything else. But then she'll say, I am learning to, when I get and go to a next level, to stop and celebrate. And I will invite friends or get on the phone and talk about how I did, and sit and ravish with it, pour a glass of wine, whatever it is.
I love that. I listen. You're speaking gold, because until you shift that mindset, until you get into, and I think I hear somebody at the door. So let me go check. Oh, look, it's Adina. Wow. Hi, Adina.
Hello, ladies.
She was one of our panelists in the Inside Salon. Adina is doing the daughter's blessed work of being with her dad in Virginia and taking him on appointments. So that's why I told her, pop in whenever you could. But I wanted to speak a little bit to that money guilt, because there was a time in my life where I had that, and I had to reprogram myself in the knowing of me trying to stifle down my accoutrements was like me slapping God in the face. This is what I say to everybody. When I was in Minneapolis and I had a 5,000 square foot home and I had an SL 500 and an ML 430, I would feel like, I'm trying to I don't want people to know too much, because it's like what was going on for me was, this could be a part two, maybe for you as well, Christina, that community, right? You're in this crew and you love your crew and your people. And here you now have blessings and favor, flowing on you. And if you get too big for your britches, they're going to oh, she thinks she's so bougie, and you don't want to lose your crew. I know that was what was happening for me. And it was an elevation of a mindset that says, you know what? No, I get to hang with people who are all about it, doing bigger, better things than me, that my little SL 500 and ML 430 is like a joke, right? So I love that. And I'm going to have you at the end share where people can connect with you, Dr. Lisa, because I do think that understanding what is the block, because Christina, you're a powerhouse. You are smart. This is why I was so attracted to you when I first met you on that clubhouse. You are moving mountains and you get to pay, you get to be paid for that. And there's something there that says, yeah, but let me give you this, and then I'm going to have Adina jump in. Louis Vuitton, we're all familiar with Louis, aren't we? Tell me when, what year, what state, what country have you ever seen a BOGO for Louis Vuitton? That'll be no, not never, not in this century, not on this planet. Louis Vuitton's not putting anything on a BOGO. They're very proud of their never fulls. They're very proud of their cases, all the things. It's either for you or it's not for you. And so there is that work that Dr. Lisa is talking about that we get to all do, everybody here, right? We all get to do this. It's not about being, listen, Adina and I, when we travel to London and we're like, oh my gosh, Ted Baker, like we're happy in that crew because she gets me and I get her. And I'm not taking anything away from you. This is just who I am apologetically. God says, I'm here to, so you can have this life and live it more abundantly. And we shouldn't shy away from that because those are our gifts and talents, right? So Adina, jump in. We're giving tactics. So Adina has 2 manufacturing companies. We had Daniela on and she was sharing about, and I get to connect both of you. She just did this big mega deal with Cisco Foods, making empanadas for them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So you see what we were talking about before about connection equals currency and who's in your tribe. Because we're all She Lab, right? I get to reciprocate my connection with Daniela, who's like a rock star in food and beverage, with Adina, who's a member of our panelists, who's also in food and beverage manufacturing, and say, hey, let's have that conversation. So tell us, for you, I mean, obviously your journey is in corporate, and then you just made this beeline into CEO of You, and we want to hear your story.
My story. Okay. Yeah. So spent a whole lot of years in the agency world, in working for various marketing agencies. And a while back, I guess it was 2015, my husband decided to start making salsas. And we spent years. The joke is it all started back when I was pregnant and I was craving heirloom tomatoes, and he goes to the grocery store and picks out the biggest, most beautiful heirloom tomato, and they ring it up and it's like $7.99, and he's like, for 1 tomato, are you kidding? Right? I could grow tomato plants, which that is truly how it all started. All of a sudden he started growing tomatoes and all kinds of exotic peppers and making salsa and perfecting his recipe, and realized like, hey, I could sell this thing. So yeah, we started out small. It's funny, if you've ever listened to that show, How I Built This, so many people have that same story where you start out small in your own home kitchen, you start going to like craft shows, or in our case, farmers markets. You're selling it, you start gaining a following. Then you start getting into some smaller grocers, and then you're building the business. And we went through that period where we were building our business and we decided, okay, we're going to be all in on this. And we were building out our own commercial facility and warehouse and everything. And then all of a sudden we got, for Mama Kicks, got this enormous new order from one of the major national grocers. And we realized like, okay, we have to put everything we have into buying ingredients, making the products, buying the packaging, paying the labor to get it done, and then sending it off to the distributor. And you don't get paid on this stuff for,
talk about that money part.
Yeah, 4 months later. So we are scraping by, and it was truly such a different experience. This moment of truth where we look at each other and we're like, okay, in the next 3 months, we're not going to get paid on this stuff. Like, we don't know how we're like, are we going to pay our mortgage? You know, like everything we had was pumped into this business. And it was like, it was so bad that, you know, those solicitations that come in the mail and you just throw them right in the garbage, and it's like, you're pre-qualified for, you know, $40,000, and you read the fine print and it's like at 12% interest.
Yeah.
You know, like it's crazy. And we were like at the very end of that cycle, and we're like we were tapped out. We have nothing. You know, we got to do it. And I'm like, we're going to get paid in like 14 more days. If we can just stick it out, let's take the 40,000, pay their like usury rates and then just, you know, bite the bullet. And sure enough, it was like, that was that defining moment where it's like, you know, how do we get to this point? You just don't think about watching pennies, and it was like just this moment where it was like, okay, this is the end. Like, if we like, in order to be successful, we have to make this happen and just deal with it. And I mean, fortunately, you know, we got paid on that huge order, and I had everything paid in full like a month later. But that was a big wake up call. And so many businesses reach that like defining moment where it's like, and as a family too, you know, it's like, how like you're either going to make it or break. I don't know. And it's interesting because again, coming from that agency background, I had spent years running like multi-million-dollar P&Ls for companies. And it's so interesting when like you take a step back, and whether it's for your household or for your own business, or like that, when you don't apply that same level of discipline that you apply to your customers. I still, even though we own two food manufacturing companies, just to keep me sharp and because I love what I do, I still serve as like, if anyone's ever heard of EOS or the book Traction, if you have, I'm a like a fractional integrator. If you haven't, I'm a part-time COO for small and medium businesses. And there are times where like, you know, I'm the one in charge of really pushing them to find efficiencies in the business, to really be laser focused on their vision, to, you know, understand what every person's role in the company is and what their role in achieving that vision is, and holding people accountable and having discipline, applying discipline to like, this is our strategic plan and this is how we're going to operationalize this. And these are the financials that we need to get there. And there are times when I'll sit in like an annual strategic planning session and I'm in the front of the room facilitating and helping my clients through this process. And I start getting so stressed over like, why am I not doing this for my own business or my own household? Yeah. And it's so stressful.
Well, and it's interesting too, because you and I had the conversation about triage, right? So like, do we as women, because we wear so many hats, with the COO, with the CFO, you know, we run the business and we run the home, sort of like, you know, we were hearing from Danielle, that it's triage. Like if it's not, you know, a leg being amputated, like your headache gets to be like 2 hours later till we can tend to you, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just triaging to get from this to the next. And clearly we can see, right, that doesn't serve us necessarily so well. So we're at the point of the show now where we're giving like tactical. So you went through it, you know, you were so laser focused on the vision. I'm just going to say it was a vision and the mission that carried you through.
Mm-hmm.
What now, and certainly coming from your point of view as like master of efficiency, give the audience we're doing tactical and practical money saving management tips, what is one thing that you would say?
I would say take whatever it is, whether it's for your household, for your business, for whatever it is, take the time to actually take that vision and break it down into like small components and put together a P&L for your household or a P&L for your project or a P&L for your company or whatever. Like take the time to do that and have the discipline to once a month go back, fill in the actuals, see how you're tracking, understand, like flag what where the big discrepancies are and talk about like, why is this happening? Okay, well, there was this big expense that we didn't anticipate. Is that something that will happen in the future, or was that a fluke? Like, take whatever it is, take the time to go through and understand so that you can be more proactive about managing your money versus reactive.
Yeah, I'm hearing that loud and clear. It's, oh, I don't have the time, but you get to make the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
like, I frankly,
prioritize this.
What was that?
I was saying we have to prioritize this.
Oh, for sure. You know what? Here's the deal. I mean, I realized that this was so important. And okay, there's a little to be completely transparent. My daughter goes to school in London, and I wanted to plan a big trip with a girlfriend of mine to go visit her, spend 4 days in London, 4 days in Paris. And my husband's like, huh, is it in the budget? And I'm like, well, budget's not done yet. So, we haven't done the budget. Well, you got to let's see.
Yeah.
I have trips I want to go on. So I actually sat down in late December and to your point, I had to prioritize it. I gave myself some random deadline and I was up till 3 a.m. getting that thing done, but it got done. And the reason I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning is because everything else got prioritized, but it's so important to me. And this trip was important to me. So I was like, you know what? Finally, it's bubbled up and I'm just going to have to get it done, even if I have to pull an all-nighter to do it.
I love that. The dedication, the priority, that's what I'm taking away. So I want to move to this because this is for the giveaway. I'm not sure who asked this question. If you're still here, just let me know who it is, because that was the only question that we received. So you're going to get the signed copy of the book. But I want each of us to, within a minute, I want us to be laser focused on this and give some consult, some advice for this person who is asking about pricing, having a hard time receiving. What tips? So in thinking about your own experiences or things that you've used on clients, whatever, we're going to laser it because it's 7 o'clock. Dr. Alisa, you go.
So her question is, I'm told that I underpriced my items. I should underprice and I have a hard time receiving. What tips can I give? She has a hard time receiving. So yeah. She definitely sounds like she has that same that block of guilt and fear surrounding money. And again, based on what that fear may be coming from, my general advice would be to you is ask yourself why, because a lot of times there's wonderful room. And one of the things with me, I'll put myself out of business because I talk to my clients about building a toolbox. So here, my dear, I would ask you to dig a little bit deeper, asking yourself, why do I have a fear of setting a price? And when you understand why, that's the only time you can confront it, because you can't take on a problem. You can't solve a problem unless you confront what's causing the problem, knowing the root of it. So you might find that there, you might not feel like you know enough or you're worthy enough because you're not there yet. You might think there's a degree you need to be charging for this, or a certification, or a certain title. No, if people are coming to you, then they see you as the expert in that area. Even if it's underwater basket weaving, then you figure out a price and you charge them for it. Now, as you go along, you'll find that you have more people coming to you. Your time is becoming more valuable. Your expertise has grown. You raise the price. Don't think about it. And I remember being there. I was there. As a young girl, I charged people and I didn't think about it, didn't flinch. But as my money story built up wax, I was like, oh my God, what do I charge for coaching? And that's when I had to go back to, that's how I got so involved with coaching around money. So I would say, go ahead, set a price, knowing the confidence is knowing that the reason people are asking you for help, it's because they think you are capable. And now, how can you take that same energy and match it and say, I'm capable? And so my time, because people don't only pay you for your expertise, it's also for your time. Money is a reward for solving a problem. What problem are you solving? Charge for it. Move on.
Brilliant. Christina, what advice?
Oh, very simple. Raise the price. Today's price is not yesterday's price. That's all I have to say.
Adina.
I think it's a lot of it is about confidence and know that you are worth it, and don't back down on that. It's interesting. I worked with a coach who when I first started out as when I first went independent as a consultant, I struggled with this a lot. And he said something to me. He told me this. I'm going to like really compress the story, but he said, company hired a guy to go in and fix the machine. He walked around it. He said, hand me a hammer, whacked it one time and said, thank you very much. That'll be $2,000. And they looked at him and said, what? $2,000 for one whack of a hammer? He said, no, $2,000 for all of the years of experience I have built up to know exactly where and how hard to whack that thing.
Brilliant.
So believe in yourself.
Come on.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Stacy.
I just want to bask in the glow of that story. It's so true. So I deal with people all the time who are against kind of hourly pricing and want to do project pricing, because they say it's not just about the hours I spend, it's about all the years of experience that I have, and the fact that I can do this much more quickly, much more efficiently than somebody else. I shouldn't be penalized for that, right? I can do it in 5 hours and might cost, take somebody 10 hours, but I'm going to do it more efficiently because of my experience. So I think really it does come down to the value that you bring. And I mean, Christina, you've been doing this for almost 10 years, right? Like you probably have encountered just about every situation that your clients are going to be in and need you for, right? And there's value in that.
Awesome. So I'm gonna just add one tactical thing, is to think about how much money you get to earn this year. So for everybody listening, write that down. What is your number? What is your money number? It's 100,000, 500, whatever it is. And then you're going to take 2080. 2080 is on average the number of working hours in a year. So if you say you wanted to make, let me grab my trusty calculator. So if I said I wanted to do 200,000 as, an annual for my business, and then I divide that by 2080, that brings me to a rough $96 per hour. So that is the base. So if you're really locked into this 200,000, right? You can't charge less than $96.15. That's just your internal guide for you to know, because oftentimes we're in desperation and we're like, oh, sure, I'll take it. And when you realize you've just worked for $2.22 and you're like, wait a minute, now you're mad. Now you're mean mugging people. Now you're resentful. So you get to price out resentment out of your business. Know what your number is, know what your goal is, and say, okay, this is where the minimum threshold is. And the next thing is to have a number in your mind. You need to have a rollover or a rollout number. I do not get out of bed for less than. You don't have to tell anybody what it is, but internally for you, oh, you want me to do this thing for 8 hours for 1,500? No, honey, I'm rolling over, back to bed, right? Know what your rollout is and your rollover, rollout number. You guys get what I'm saying? So,
Love it.
Yeah. So 2080, remember that. 2080. What is your
I would
intention?
also add to that, Faith, like you're not just going to sit there and answer the phone. It's going to take time out of your week to go out there and network or to promote yourself or to write proposals or whatever. So even from that 20/80, maybe you want to subtract how much time you think you're going to spend getting the business, winning the business, and then divide.
Yeah, no, it's 2080. Sorry, I'm saying 2080. I hope you guys 2080.
80.
Yeah. 2080 hours. But this is just to give you that baseline, because oftentimes, like I think it was Christina or whomever just said it, sometimes you just make up a number. You throw a number out there because you're like, I don't know. And what you get to do is be in research mode, find out what industry standards are, what's kind of like, you know, how in real estate they understand like the average, you know, first home buyer pays X. Just know what's going on for your industry so that you can confidently say, yes, Sue down the road might be charging you $1,000, but Sue down the road doesn't have 26 years of experience in tech and breaking down new tech and apps the way I do. So this is why my number is different. And I think it was Dr. Lisa who said the confidence to stand behind it. Once you lock into that, you've got to hold on.
Yes.
Don't waver. If you're going to listen to me, this is very important. If you're going to reduce the money because they're like, oh, my budget, you absolutely must take something out.
That's right.
Because then they'll go, oh, well, she was just making up the number anyway. Like, you know, so you can say, right. So if your budget's only 15, then we can't give you a full report. We'll give you a top line summary, and that's about it. You've got to take something out. So hear me.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are at time. This, I don't know about you guys, but this was so fun. Thank you all so much for being our co-hosts. And yeah, if you have any last words you want to leave with the audience, feel free. We're just going to go out with the show music after. So what else?
I just have to say to everyone listening, like, you really have to build confidence in yourself in order to gain a positive relationship with money. And again, we're talking specifically to women, because if you look around, I never see men struggle. I was married before, and my ex-husband would buy whatever he wanted. He wanted a watch, and he got 10 of them. He's a watch collector, whatever. I would think twice to get the Louis, because I'm like, well, I could be doing this. Well, different folks, different strokes. But then again, we need that confidence in ourselves that, like what Faith was saying, when we set a price, we understand how we got there, but we don't have to explain that to anyone. We can nicely say, well, you know what, Stacy, these are my prices. And if it's not affordable for you right now, maybe we can always get back together at another time when you're ready. And you walk away from that conversation. Try it. Just try it. And that's the tip I got to give to yourself. Do the mirror work, do the journaling, all the things that you need to do, but shift that mindset and that confidence level. Get around people who are already getting the results you want, and stop hanging around. Nothing wrong with the people who are beneath you or at where you're at. They're not where you want to go. So you're not going to learn from them. So check your mindset, check your environment, and just be specific. Own your own worth. Don't wait for someone else to value you. And that's
exactly. And I want to just do one more thing before I sign this off. Give me, Dr. Lisa, how can people connect with you if they want to do this money story work with you? Just give
Absolutely.
It to me.
So you can connect with me on AlisaWhyte.com. That's ALISAWHYTE. But I'm on all social media at Dr. Alisa or just Alisa Whyte. My name is spelled a little bit different. It's ALISAWHYTE. And for the first person to reach out and connect with me on Instagram, I'm going to mail you a copy of my Money Mindset Journal. And then for the second person, they will get a replay of the Money Blocks Masterclass. And I'm going to send it to all my friends here. So connect, and let's get going, because we're going to have a masterclass soon on a new money mindset.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Adina, thank you especially for tuning in from Virginia. How's your dad? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's doing well. I wish I could have signed on earlier, but
no worries.
You know, like, people move a little slower when they get older. So things took a little longer today, which is
don't even talk about it.
It is what it is.
That's
It's fun. Quality time.
We're glad you made it. And Christina, thank you so much for your generosity of time this week.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, ladies, if you have any questions, you can just comment in the comments below. You want to reach out to any one of the panelists for whatever reason. Remember, connection equals currency. Let's build up our tribe. See you guys. Bye.